Hello and welcome to We Are Tottenham TV. It has finished Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 4. Now, I'm going to repeat that because people need to hear that again. It's finished Manchester City 0, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City 0, and Tottenham 4. And we are the boys from Spurs Kings TV. Ash?
Oh, when the go marching. Oh, when the Spurs go marching. Oh, hey, the remix it now. Hey, listen, it's a party right about now. Are you crazy?
Look, it's a party.
Listen, I wasn't expected at it. Because 4-0, brother. I'm like, whoa. I'm happy to get. Remember, I said a draw.
A draw. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. First 10 minutes of this game. First 10 minutes of this game. Basuma gets booked in the first minute. The first exact minute, right? And we're looking at going, what the hell? Right? That's him done for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Right? And we kind of said, look, it's a case of what would it do for him for the rest of the game? He can't tackle now. Will Sarr have to step up? And then Haaland has a chance. And we're a bit against the ropes in the first 10 minutes. Like, how were you feeling at that point?
I was like, this is typical City. But you know what's mad? I was like, we looked a bit rattled, a bit jaded at the start. But I always feel like when teams, and they suit the way we play, when they come onto us, that means there's more space in behind. Do you know what I mean? And I saw when we played against their B team in the FA Cup, or not FA Cup, in the League Cup, and we got the result. And I was like, actually, the more they have the ball and they don't put it in the back of the net, the more we're going to grow in confidence. And it just takes our front two, front three, whatever, some of our forward players, to kind of like just put their chances away. And so I wasn't too panicked by it, but at one point I was like, oh, yeah, they're playing through us way too easily. Do you know what I mean? So that was what's going through my head, if I'm being totally honest.
And then against the run of play, Kulu gets the ball, lays a fantastic ball in the box, our first chance of the game, and Maddison puts us 1-0 up at the Etihad. Now, as Spurs fans, we're thinking, this is the Etihad. This is our ground. This is where we like to play. But could we get carried away at that moment?
We're Spurs fans. Of course we can't. Hey, that should be that should be like a meme, like, hi, I'm a Spurs fan. You can't get carried away when you're away from home. Hi, I'm a Spurs fan.
4-0 up. Don't get carried away, I'm a Spurs fan.
But yeah, like going through that goal, I was still in heaven still, I'm not gonna lie to you, 1-0. But I was still nervous, but I was like, it was like a shock. Do you know what I'm saying?
A bit of a relief.
And that too. A lot of emotions, heart beating, sweating through my armpits. I can't lie. Need to go on and have a shower. But yeah, listen, a roller coaster of emotions, if I'm being totally honest.
But as for the goal scorer, Madders, it kind of look. Let's look at the last few weeks, and there's obviously been a problem with Ange, or there's been a problem with Madders. We don't know which one. But for him to come in and be justified, and start him. Are we starting to see Ange turn a corner with certain players when he falls out with them?
I just think like there's narratives, a lot of narratives, and I think Ange is trying to dispel a lot of them because people think he's fallen out with certain players, and actually by him starting Maddison, City, let's face it, they're the best team in the league, or if not Europe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the best
and
teams,
so he's trusting his player to say, look, Brennan Johnson, he's been not bad form this season. Brennan Johnson's been a bit of form. He said, look, I'm going to bench him. So I don't mind that no one's like invincible, no one's unbenchable. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're scoring goals in a team, if you're playing well, etc. You could be benched at any time. So you need to have a good performance. So, and I like how, because to me, Maddison, when he scored that goal, he looked cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he did.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do,
and you saw the smile slowly come on the back of his face as well when he put it in. The confidence. It was a very, as someone put in the chat when we were watching, it was a very, very Dele Alli-esque kind of goal where he goes in at the back post and he just puts it in. It was a very similar to Kane's goal against Manchester City when we were beaten 3-2, where he goes in, and it's probably one of City's weaknesses, and Ange has exploited that today. But then the game still falls back into Manchester City's favour. They still have chances. But Vicario's saving them. Vicario's saving them.
Yeah.
But then 7 minutes later, we take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, sucker punch.
Sucker punch. And how the goal came about was Manchester City gave the ball away to Kulu. Kulu lays it on the edge of the box to Maddison. Maddison sees Son available on the left-hand side, and he's like in so much space. He plays it to him. But Son cuts back inside on his right foot, and at that moment, I was like, "What are you doing?" But then lays a deft pass back into Maddison, who then loops it over Ederson. Like,
listen, my broski, the dink was sensational. The way he just took it first time, flowed it over, no rush, composure at its finest level. And I'm like, that's what you want from your top players. Because a lot of people were getting onto Manderson, you know what I mean?
Yep, they were.
And I was like, gotcha, gotcha. So when he put it in the back of the net, I was so ecstatic. I was happy for him.
Yep.
And I'm like, a lot of people are like, oh, where's your big players? You need your big players to step up. And I felt all of our bigger players, or so-called big players, kind of stepped up today. And I did read the presser before, moving on to Kulu, saying, you know, he was like, this is one of the games I really love playing for.
Yeah.
I love playing against City, and it really showed today. Do you know what I mean? But the only critique I would say on that is you kind of want them to be up against the Ipswiches and the Palaces, that same type of energy. Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you on that. Because look, a lot of people would have been going, look, we were 2-0, still talking about Ipswich.
Yeah.
Right, and everyone in the chat
Still
was
scarred.
still scarred from Ipswich, and it's just kind of. That's not where we want to be. We want to see performances like that and go, we know what we're going to be doing today. Yeah. But look, Man City had chances after that, and so did we. And I said to you, right, we had a chance from Solanke in the 27th minute. Were we going to regret that at half-time? Mm-hmm. And you kind of said, we could do, but you were a bit more confident than I was going into it. Yeah. But obviously, we go into half-time 2-0 up. Why were you a bit more confident than I was? Because, you know, I'm a Spurs fan. So are you.
Yeah.
But did you see enough out there on that pitch?
I just saw that original game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I know the result didn't go in our favour, but I just said, I look at the chances that we're creating. They're going to continue to do what they're doing, and they're going to be open. They're missing a lot of people. I was trying to push it hard on my shows and other shows. I was like, they're missing sixes. They're missing DMs.
Kovacic missing today
was massive.
Yeah, it was massive.
When I saw that, it gave me a little ounce of hope. And so in the second half, I said, yes, they are creating a lot with the ball, but without the ball, they can be got at, especially in those channels, because they can't. And they've got centre backs playing fullback. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, Walker for me, he's a bit tired. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he's got a bit burst of pace in a direction, like in linear lines, in a vertical line. But if you take him, zigzag him, he hasn't really got that same type of legs as he had before. And you can see he's slightly on the way out, in my opinion. So
look, there were a lot of people in our chat at halftime mentioning him. I'm going to mention him, Porro.
Yeah.
Defensively was probably the weakest link in the first half, defensively, but going forward was probably our biggest threat on going forward. Mm-hmm. We keep him on. Obviously, Spurs. Look, Manchester City came out at us in that second half, but they didn't come out at us how we thought. They just had a lot of the ball, and we just kind of soaked it up, which is unusual for Spurs. And were you quite surprised how we did soak up that pressure and didn't actually concede?
I was surprised by the way we started, and I felt like the 2-0 cushion, and because we started on that front foot slightly, where we were in their half pushing them back, that gave the players a lot of confidence. Yeah. So even though you make a mistake, you can't let that be your world, if that makes sense. You can't live on that. You can't die on that hill. You can't live there. And yes, Porro made a mistake defensively. Udogie made a mistake on the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? But actually, you've got time to improve in a game if you continue playing your game and doing what you're good at. And I think that's what happened with some of the players, you know. They knew they weren't going to see a lot of the ball. They kept it simple. And I thought at times, fair play to the boys for being brave and sticking to the game plan and not, you know, letting their worlds crumble or, you know, being, as they say, like, soft underbelly that we're getting slapped with all the time.
Spursy. It's called Spursy. We know it.
I didn't want to say it because it's such a positive show.
But yeah. But today, look, it's a very... Look, we can sit there and say it's not a thing, but today was Spursy of us because it's typical.
Yeah.
Right? As Espen Anderson's put in the super chat, he's gone, how sick is that? Just remember, the big test is next week at home to Fulham. And you've mentioned the Ipswich game as well, and we were mentioning the Ipswich game.
But remember, even like before the games even kicked off, I said, imagine that Fulham have got peppered 4-1 to Wolves. I said, is that good or bad? I don't really know.
Just don't know with Spurs.
I just don't know with Spurs. You just don't know what you're going to get.
But just getting back to the game quickly, because obviously then probably... It's probably my favourite goal we've scored this season. I'm gonna shout that out, and when people see it, they will understand why I'm saying that.
The Kulu thing.
But Kulu picks it up basically near our box.
Yeah.
He lays it. He ends up trying to take on three players. Then he nearly gets tackled, but lays a lovely ball into Son, who then gets wiped out, or nearly gets wiped out by, I think it's Akanji and Walker, who then but he lays a ball back inside to Kulu. Kulu then, with his legs, goes running with the ball, takes it into Manchester City's half, lays a diagonal ball into the box, which Solanke then on the edge of Manchester City, the edge of the 6-yard box, picks up the ball.
Gets the assist.
Right? And he's got 2 players running in. I think it was Sarr and Porro, yeah? And lays a pass back to Porro. Porro then puts it right, not in the top corner, but puts it out of Ederson's reach.
Yeah.
3-0.
Dreamland.
Look, me and you got carried away.
Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? That's what I felt like. I felt like I was in heaven. I was like, wow. And like, even now, I'm like, Ash, it's a 4-0 win. Get carried away for 24 hours, but like, tomorrow I'll calm down. I'll be level-headed. I'll get back to... But right about now, 3-0, I'm on dream mode because I'm like, 3-0, this is amazing. We're going to have to do a lot to get back in the game. But I still had a bit of like... in me because we scored that third goal quite early on. Do you know what I mean?
Nah, I'm glad you said that because we scored it so early. It was like the 53rd minute.
Right.
And we're like, oh crap, we've now got to try and
defend
for like 30 odd minutes or more at the Etihad, and they're going to pile on the pressure.
And we're like, do we make a change? Do we stay around? What do we do?
So
I don't know. Yeah.
So this is the thing now. We only make one change between that moment when Porro scores and when the 80th minutes when everyone came on. Was it justified? Because we criticised for Ange for his in-game management, but he let the team suffer.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
But was it, for me, was this just the wrong time to make them suffer? I get we won, but should he have made the changes slightly earlier just so they're not on their feet?
Well, we discussed it in the game. We were like, because you said you feel like Johnson should come on and make the change. But then we were actually saying, but defensively, because I suggested, do you take Sarr off? Do you take Basuma off? But you're like, no, we can't. We can't sacrifice our defensive shape. And I agreed. And so I think maybe he was thinking the same type of thing what we were thinking. Like, well, we've got to defend him. We've got to sit in. Yeah. And if I take one of those players off, and I said even Maddison, because he normally takes off Maddison, and which is a good credit to him now because he's showing. I'm showing faith in my players by not taking him off.
True.
But you said the reason why he took him off is because to save Son's legs, which I agree with. Also,
we have to save Son's legs.
But at the same time, I'm saying it's the right move, but now's not the right time. Do you know what I mean? And he did weigh it out, and I thought that was the right time to weigh it out. I thought you had to trust. Sometimes you've got to trust in your players. Sometimes you make them move too early. And then all of a sudden, we lose some of our shape. We lose that extra body in that midfield. And he decided to take Son off. That was the less of the two evils because Son's only going to be defending down the sides. And actually, Johnson's got fresh legs. He might be able to get up and down a little bit more than what Son's doing and protect a doggy on that side. So I thought in-game management, in my opinion, because we said it even at half time, you could do it too early. You could be at 45 minutes, get to 55 minutes or 50 minutes. You did, and you're like, whoa, it's 10 minutes, it's too early. Like, do you know what I mean? A lot of things can happen. A lot of variables can happen. So I thought personally, he got it right on that occasion.
Manchester City probably had the better chance in the second half. Obviously, but Vicario's made some, let's be honest, some great saves. Not world-class saves, but great saves to keep us in that game and keep that clean sheet in the end. Correct. And I celebrated twice that he caught the ball from crosses and corners. Now,
brilliant.
For me, when he's doing that, that's the bit I think everybody wants to see because that corner is a different story. 3 or 4 games ago, and if Manchester City catch one back,
punch the ball or something,
punch the ball and whatnot,
slips through his hands.
But is this something? Are we going to see this from Vicario going forward, or are we only ever going to see this against City?
We don't know. This is the thing with the whole performance. As good as it was, we don't know if this is a one-off. So we can't get carried away. It's really, really unfortunate.
Look, Andrew Din, who's sent a super stat, said, "Come on, Ash, calm down.
Sorry.
It's just Man City, mate. Laugh out loud." Stat fact: Ange Ball Spurs scores the most goals in the Premier League so far.
I said
27.
That. Didn't I say that?
But it seems, but you know what? Yeah, and you did say that. But it seems to be right now when we're winning, we're winning hard. Like
Yeah,
we're winning,
we
we're
smash teams.
smashing
Yeah,
teams.
we smash
But
teams.
when we're losing,
Yeah.
we are getting beat, but we're not getting smashed.
Do you know what? You know what a lot of people are saying? We struggle against the low block. It's the low block the problem. When
It's the
teams
one thing
come,
we haven't sorted out yet.
when teams come at us, then we can destroy them. But when they sit back, we just don't know. And I just said the reason being is because sometimes we don't have players with the football IQ, meaning that when some of our players are on the ball, players need to make runs off each other. Because remember I said that. I was one time, I think Son had the ball or Doggy had the ball and no one was running off them. And I'm like, or Maddison had the ball, no one's running off Maddison. And then it has to go backwards or sideways because the people are standing in the line or they're standing off. They're not running into space. And it's that kind of, that's what we're missing. Players that understand that it's a pusher pass and move, 1-2s, third man passes. Like, these are things that they need to be coached on. Do you know what I mean? A bit better.
So, there's three players that I really want you to talk about that we need to mention and go through each one individual. Dragusin, because we've done Vicario now. Dragusin, Ben Davies, and Mate Sarr. Pape Mate Sarr.
Pape Mate Sarr.
Sarr boy, as they call him.
Sarr. Yeah. Sarr.
How great was Sarr today? Because he was, for me, some of the things I didn't know he could do, he was winning the ball back. He's
relentless.
Relentless. He's passing between the player, like making sure the ball was being with Maddison's feet and Kulu.
Accurate passes into feet.
Accurate passes into feet and not making them have to switch around and struggle. Well, what did you make of Sarr today?
Great performance. That's what I made of it. I felt like his all-round game was top notch. I think. Again, we know that he can cover a lot of the ground because of his long legs, but actually his timing of tackles as well, his anticipation, his front-footedness in terms of winning that ball back, being a battering ram at times, do you know what I mean? Helping his brother Basuma when maybe he's not playing too well, do you know what I'm saying? Nicking that ball up high up the pitch and then finding the better players to pass to, keeping it simple. Just providing that overall energy that we know love Sarr to be. He's just a ball of energy. Never like complains, always has his head up. He's just got a great player to have in your squad, do you know what I mean? And I felt like when you do all the basics right, you know what I mean? What more can you say? What? Because that's what you want from a midfielder. You want your midfielder to be defending, but you also want them to be attacking. And I thought he was good in the transition. And when you lay it off quickly, when you pass it quickly, it helps the team to move quick and opens up the holes in teams to break them down for us to create opportunities to score goals. And I thought that's why Sarr was integral today for me, in my opinion.
Ben Davies, a lot of people had a lot of questions about Davies. And, you said right from the beginning, he will give you a certain type of performance each game. He doesn't go underneath it. He doesn't go above it, but he'll give you a solid performance. And did you think he gave that today as well?
Probably took the words right out of my mouth. Steady Eddie.
You said it. Nah,
Benjamin. Benny Boy. Benjamin Button. Like literally, he hasn't aged at all, has he?
No.
But he's not the fastest, never has been.
No.
But I thought he was excellent in the air. Him and Dragusin, to be fair. Aerially, good box defending. I felt he knew within himself like what he can do. And what he can't do. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think with Ben Davies though, it's a case of if he comes up against a pacey striker, like someone who wants to be
a Haaland?
like not an Ollie Watkins, no, more like an Ollie Watkins who wants to be played in behind, where Haaland's more faced up to you.
Yeah, all right, okay, running
kind of
behind,
striker.
okay,
Do you think that's where Ben Davies is more likely to get caught out, especially in the system?
I think with Ben Davies, because he's been around the block, he's been around for a while. A lot of players like a Mickey van der Ven would rely on their physical attributes, their athleticism, their mobility to kind of get themselves out of trouble. Whereas Ben Davies, in my opinion, from that game, will position himself a bit better so he doesn't have to, do recovery runs where he's got to win that ball back. So it's a different style of defending, if that makes sense, because he knows his weaknesses. And I think in this game, particularly, he hid his deficiencies a lot better. Not to say that Ben Davies is a top defender now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you're a certain player, you know what you're good at, you know how or what you're good at defending at. And I felt the team played to his strengths and he served well. And we don't hear a lot of the things, but I remember in lockdown, he was the one that was talking a lot, blah, 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 barking instructions. Even though he doesn't even look like the type.
He doesn't look like the type.
But there's a reason why they're keeping him around. Like, so he's clearly a strong voice in the dressing room. However, that position still needs to be addressed, in my opinion. And we were saying before, who'd you go, centre back or left back? Do you know what I mean? Because it was that type of game with cagey, and we're like, it's not easy on the defenders.
And then the last person I mentioned, Florine Maini. Who is he? Dragoshin's agent. How did he get on today?
I love that. Hey, I love that. Hey, you did that so sweet. Hey. There's you know what? He's got the biggest mouth, of course. But yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like the agent, you know that Paratici used to do the most on the sideline. Get involved in the fact, and the players are like, shut up, man. Oh, he's getting my nerves. Let me stand on the other side of the pitch to get away from him. Yeah. I feel like Jack Houston's agent is like that. The whole fan base is like, shut up, stop talking. You know what I mean? Even though he was linked to Lazio and Juventus, or was it Roma and Juventus? I can't remember.
And Napoli. You know, it was a link to quite a few clubs.
Napoli, Juventus, and a few other teams. I can't remember. Yeah, remind me in the chat. But I felt that when that was brought up, it wasn't too over the top. Normally, it's just a quick statement was like, he's happy where he is. And he's humbled.
I'm starting to think his agent's an AI.
Possibly.
It's like someone puts in time to talk.
Yeah. He started to realise maybe I'm talking too much. But no. Going back to Dragusin now on a serious tip, I felt again it was a bit of a mix, but it was a positive mix for me.
Yeah.
He had some parts of his game which still needs to be refined, in my opinion. But you saw what he's good at also, especially in the second half, in my opinion.
So a lot of questions are going to come from this with Dragoshin and Romero argument. Like, if Van der Ven came back, would you prefer Dragoshin to start more games, or would you still keep it as the Romero Van der Ven?
I'm going to answer that on Tuesday's show, guys. Please make sure you like and subscribe to Spurs Kings TV.
Yep. You answer it then. Let's get to Fulham. He's told you, if you want to know, come to Spurs Kings TV.
But trust me, we do debates, man.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we get into it. So that's a good question. But
it's a very good question.
We'll save that one. That's too juicy for here.
Yeah, too juicy.
Match reaction. Yeah.
Fulham next. Roma and Fulham next in the next week or so. What do we do?
I do like this formation, but I think there's a time and place for it. When we're at home, I still favour the way we are playing with the 4-3-3, especially against the lesser teams. But it's a selection headache now, where do we go back to Madison and Kulu in the midfield? Yeah. Or does Johnson drop off and put Kulu out wide? I mean, Kulu, obviously, at one point when he first started out, you were like, I think he's out wide. And it looked a bit smelly at first. Yeah. It was a bit stinky out wide. But then he started drifting in. And I said, I don't mind him out wide as long as he drifts in like he was at, like, you know, in that 8 position, in that midfield position. Then he can start wide and then drift in, because then they won't pick him up. Yeah. But it's a headache selection that, again, we will talk about on Tuesday's show. But please make sure you subscribe and like, and we get to 3,000, guys. Yes. We're taking more people, though. We are taking more people.
Now, look, that's our Manchester City 0 Spurs 4 instant match reaction for We Are Tottenham TV. Look, both of us are from Spurs Kings TV. Look, make sure if you want to hear more from Ash, right, and want to hear more from me, please subscribe to We Are Spurs Kings TV, the link is in the description. But yeah, if you're the match reaction, the call-in show will be next. So please come in and tell us how you're feeling.
Call in like right now. I'm going out raving. I'm going to celebrate this win, yeah? So guys, I'm not saying where, but just come on the show quickly so I can pattern up and I can go out, yeah?
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to We Are Tottenham TV.
Make sure.
Yeah, please subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on,
you Spurs.